Most people remember Spirited Away as a story about a girl finding her courage in a magical world. They remember the glowing spirits, the lush bathhouse, the triumphant train ride across the water. And that reading works, on the surface. But underneath the wonder, something else is happening, something the film keeps in plain sight while encouraging you to look past it. Chihiro doesn't enter a fantasy kingdom. She enters a workplace. And the rules of that workplace are not enchanted. They are extracted. Spirited Away premiered in 2001 and became the highest-grossing film in Japanese history at that time, winning the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. It cemented Hayao Miyazaki's global reputation as a filmmaker of unmatched imaginative vision. The film is widely understood as a coming-of-age story, a modern fairy tale about a child who learns resilience and compassion in a spirit world. That reading is not wrong, but it is incomplete. Because the world Chihiro enters operates by a very specific logic, and that logic is not mythological. It is economic. The argument here is this: the bathhouse in Spirited Away functions as a comprehensive system of labor exploitation, name theft, debt bondage, and identity erasure, where Chihiro's journey structurally mirrors the experience of trafficked children, and her escape does not dismantle that system but merely exempts her from it. The film documents exploitation without imagining its overthrow, and that is precisely what makes it so unsettling. Let me break this into 3 parts. First, the name theft. Second, the debt structure. Third, what it means that Chihiro leaves the bathhouse exactly as she found it. When Chihiro signs Yubaba's contract, the witch physically seizes the characters of her name. The contract reads only a sen if 3 strokes of Chihiro's identity are excised. Haku then delivers the film's most direct warning: if you forget your real name, you can never leave this place. He knows this because it happened to him. He is the Haku River Spirit, and he has been working for Yubaba so long he nearly forgot who he was. The text establishes explicitly that name erasure is not a side effect of employment. It is the mechanism of captivity. This is not a fantasy conceit without real-world reference. In actual trafficking operations, the first step is identity removal. Confiscated passports, destroyed identification documents, replaced names. These are standard practices documented across global labor trafficking cases. The victim becomes legible only through their function for the employer. Chihiro becomes Senator Haku became Haku. The film doesn't symbolize this process. It literalizes it, then surrounds it with enough visual splendor that the horror becomes ambient rather than urgent. Lin, the older worker who takes Chihiro under her protection, explains the bathhouse hierarchy with a single line: "You do not want to be on Yubaba's bad side." She describes long hours, dangerous tasks, and the constant threat of punishment or disposal. The pattern suggests that every worker in the bathhouse exists in a state of permanent obligation from which no amount of labor can earn release. Haku is the proof. He has served Yubaba for years, competently, loyally, and he is not free. His servitude has not diminished. It has deepened. He performs duties that compromise his own nature: stealing, spying, carrying out thefts like the attempted seizure of Zenobers' seal. Compliance in the bathhouse does not accumulate credit. It accumulates debt. This is the definition of debt bondage, a system where the worker's obligation only grows, regardless of how much they produce. Consider the bathhouse's vertical structure. Yuberber rules from the top floor in a penthouse filled with jewels and opulent furnishings. Below her, managers and supervisors enforce order. Below them, the general workforce, Lin and the other bath women, perform the grueling labor of servicing spirits. Below them, Kamarji and the soot sprites work the boiler room in sweltering conditions that never pours. At the very bottom, the newly arrived and the powerless, like Chihiro, take the worst jobs with no authority and no protection. The film establishes each layer clearly. This is not a spiritual hierarchy. It is a labor hierarchy. The stink spirit scene makes this explicit. The most disgusting, physically dangerous work goes to the lowest status worker available, and when that work produces something valuable, a river spirit's healing and a valuable medicinal herb, the credit flows upward. Chihiro performed the labor. Yuberber claims the profit. So what the text has shown at this point is that name theft is the mechanism of captivity, and that the bathhouse's economic structure ensures captivity is permanent regardless of compliance. The system does not reward labor. It consumes it. Now the harder question. What happens at the end? Chihiro passes Yuberber's test, recognizes her parents among the pigs, and walks back through the tunnel. She escapes. This is the moment the film frames as victory. But look at what remains. Every worker who helped Chihiro is still in the bathhouse. Lin is still there. Kamarji is still there. The soot sprites are still carrying coal. The hierarchy is intact. Yuberber has lost one worker, and she has already replaced Haku with 100 other trapped souls we never meet. Chihiro's departure does not break the system. It is an exception the system can easily absorb. The film acknowledges this. In Chihiro's final conversation with Zenobur, the witch tells her that she must find out for herself what is valuable to her, and that her friends at the bathhouse will always be her friends. It is a warm sentiment. But notice what it does not say. It does not say they will be free. It does not say the bathhouse will change. The emotional resolution Chihiro receives is internal. She has grown stronger, more capable, more herself. The external conditions that trapped her, and that continue to trap everyone she is leaving behind, are untouched. This reading argues that this is not an oversight in the narrative. It is the point. Miyazaki built a world where exploitation is the natural order, and his protagonist's triumph is learning to navigate that world without being consumed by it. That is a genuine achievement. It is also a deeply bleak one. The system persists because systems like this do persist. Individual resilience is not collective liberation. Now, the strongest reading against what I have argued. Spirited Away is, transparently, a coming-of-age narrative grounded in Shinto and Buddhist tradition. Name changes in initiation rites are common across religious traditions. Taking a new name upon entering a monastery, for instance, represents transformation, not erasure. Yuberber's bathhouse can be read as a liminal space where Chihiro undergoes a necessary trial to emerge as a fuller version of herself. The name Isen is not stolen. It is earned. And Haku is not trapped by labor exploitation. He is trapped by a specific magical contract with Yubaba that is about power dynamics, not economics. The film's tone, its humor, its warmth, its visual exuberance, does not support a reading this dark. Miyazaki himself has described the film as being about a girl who discovers her own vitality. That is not the language of a filmmaker making a statement.